Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Melanated in Business, where we spotlight and celebrate Black and Brown business owners and their products and services across the world. You are the heartbeat of our community, and your products and services are our bloodline. I am your homegirl, TaWanda with the T. My co-host, Judge Joci, will not be joining us today, but our honorary special guest joining me today is Roland Carter, CEO of Robyn's Garden Winery in Huntsville, Alabama. But
Thank you.
before we get all up in your business, let me get into some tea. Today, I'm serving you some motivational tea. Come on and take a sip with me. In life, we go through so much on a daily basis. Stress at work, the entrepreneurship hustle, school, kids, bills, COVID, health, hell, the list goes on and on. We need a daily refresher. Let's normalize daily resets. A fresh start, a new day, a new mood, new goals, new challenges, and new triumphs. As we grow through another day, reflect on the last hour's troubles, but don't live there. Don't hold on to it another hour, another day, another week. Let that shit go, honey. Stress does a number on our bodies immediately and in the long run. Think of what you could have done differently. Receive your lesson. Some things to reflect on. How did you handle the situation? Are you satisfied with your reaction? What did you learn to do or not to do? Is this the time to delete someone from your life, not just social media? Is it time to remove something that's causing mayhem? Take that life lesson, hit that reset button, and grow on. Your happiness and success are in your hands alone. Now, for our guest of the hour, welcome, Roland Carter. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I appreciate that. It's a great intro. I'm thinking, I'm like, dang, who I need to get rid of? But yeah, it's a good intro.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell us who you are.
Okay. Simply put, nobody's special, but I do special things. And my name is Roland Carter. I am the owner and operator of Robyn's Garden Winery here in Huntsville, Alabama. We just opened within the last 4 months, so we're really new. However, we've been on the grind for years and years, so much so that people have been anticipating us open up for at least the last 3 years. So we've been out there before we've been getting our name out and trying to build a brand and giving free wine promos everywhere before we actually opened. And now we're open and we're enjoying it. We're enjoying it.
So you had your wine, your products out before, and you just opened your location 4 months ago.
Correct. Correct. I used to do wine events. I will host wine events and participate in a 1,000,001 wine contest and won a number of them. And so, kind of made a name for myself before I got to this point on a small scale. So people have been like, when are you going to open up? When are you going to open up? When are you going to open up? Well, I'm open up now. So I'm just following through with the dream,
So when did your love for wine begin?
Let me clarify, because I get to ask this question a number of times. Love for wine began around 24 years old, but love for winemaking, that's totally different. It's two totally different journeys. Mm-hmm. So love for wine began around 24 years old. I graduated from Alabama A&M, and around that time, I would hang out with frat brothers and so on, and we would do a lot of partying and stuff. I was just trying to find myself for the most part, And go out drinking and stuff. We were the type of people that would drink the liquor straight before you go to the club because it was too cheap to buy 50 million drinks at the club. And it caught up to me quick. So much so that I started developing acid reflux. I was having all types of stomach issues. So I just gave up drinking altogether. I know what was wrong with me. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to drink no more. Started working out back then and gave up liquor altogether. Well, after about a year of that, someone was like, you need to come to this wine tasting with me. And I wish I remember who that was, but I don't. I just remember getting dragged to a wine tasting. And I was like, nah, I'm not drinking. I'm good on that. My stomach's doing fine. I'm not about to go back down that road. Plus men don't drink wine, all types of. I was just like, nah, I'm good on that. I drink hard liquor. What's wine, So I went and I think I had I never forget. It was a African Shiraz, leopard's leaf. That was the name of it, African Shiraz. And man, I mean, by the time I got to wine tasting number 8, for some reason that stuck out to me. That was the best thing ever. I was going. It was so, as a heavy liquor drinker, that red wine was the closest thing that came to that during that time. And I was just feeling good, and it was a different type of buzz than what I was used to. I was used to getting all tipsy or drunk and then feel like I'm about to throw up or pass out or just sweating and all the other stuff. And this was different. I was relaxed. I was, my arms were just glued to the chair, it was just it was a calming, relaxation. I'm like liquor, and got home, had the best sleep ever, woke up, no hangover, no headache. I was like, man, why haven't I been doing this the whole time, So that was the beginning of my love for wine. And it just evolved from that point.
So would that be a darker wine or a clear wine that got you hooked right there?
That was Shiraz, actually. Was the red wine. It's like a heavy red wine. It was the real deal. For most people, usually the people that get started with wine, they usually don't start off like that. They usually graduate to that. But I just loved it from the jump. I mean, they would explain to me notes of the wine and this and that. I was like, felt like it was 3D. Yeah, I taste it. Yeah. Oh, I noticed that. Yeah. I was just intrigued, all these little things they were pointing out. I was, it was kind of like a quiz. Well, do you taste? Yeah, I do. Well, now try this one. And so I just was hooked from that point on. I mean, they were really, really liberal, really, I mean, they seem like more excited to explain it to me than anything. It's like a person that a lot of people that host the wine tasting stuff, they just seem so excited. And most people just want to drink and be like, yeah, just shut up. But I was actually enjoying it. And I was like, really? What else? So this comes from Argentina or this comes from South Africa, And I was like, really? As you can notice, the soil is different. On this one, it's come out Oregon, so it's more volcanic. And I'm like, oh, I tasted different. I'm like, most people are like, whatever, just let me drink and leave me alone. But I actually loved it. So I've been hooked and I've been doing wine tasting from that point on.
So do you all do wine tastings?
Oh, of course. You can't have a wine without a wine tasting. Yeah, so we right now we have 4 tasting and a 6 tasting, and as more wines come along, those tastings gonna keep on going up. Hopefully, by the fall, we'll have the goal is I want to have at least 25, 30 different wines. I want just people to go around the room. I want them to know what a wine camp is like, what a real wine tasting is like, where you just go right around the room, each table to table, and sample and Most people have never had that experience. I want to bring that here to Huntsville.
So do you all have your own wines that you give out, that you sell or whatever?
Yeah. So everything at Robyn's Gardens, we make there in house. We don't. So every wine we make in house. Of course, once you get past about 8 wines, it gets more difficult to keep, making a new one without running out of another one. And so we're trying to balance that. But yeah, everything we make there, people can buy, do a sample, a tasting. They can buy by the glass, or they can buy the bottle, bring it home, whatever they want to do.
Okay. So when you started out, okay, so you started out in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
And the management field. When did you realize that you had an interest in the wine arena and you wanted to leave that background?
Oh yeah, I'm a long way removed from restaurant, but yeah, the restaurants industry is what got me through college. Late high school, college. I've done restaurant management from Hardee's, Taco Bell, El Palacio. You name the restaurant, I worked there. Steak and Ale. You name it, I could go on. So I worked at one restaurants, but that was basically to get through college. And because I did a lot of restaurant management, naturally I was trying to find a degree that coincided that was kind of coupled the background that I had. So I picked business management when I went to college. It seemed like the easiest path to graduate based on the knowledge that I had. And so I graduated from A&M, got a degree in business management. And then after that, I got picked up by the Army as a civilian. And I've been working there ever since. I've been there for like the last, I guess about 16 years now, 17 years. I can't remember. And so been with the government for like 16, 17 years. But yeah, working McDonald's and Hardee's, you can't open a winery. Unfortunately, unless not with bills and kids. But so I basically saved up, took out some money from my retirement and used it towards the winery.
Nice.
And that's how I'm here.
So I understand that your brand is named after your daughter. Do you care to share that story?
Oh, I don't mind. Okay, so we're graduating from the love of wine in general, wine making. Okay, so with my daughter, she had a nice battle with cancer, which started around the time she was in 2nd grade, and it came on and off till she was in 8th grade and right before 9th grade. And she passed away when she was 13 years old, about 3 months before her 14th birthday. And so when that whole experience with my daughter, it you're a parent, your child passes. What do? You just try to stay sane, I'm saying? You do whatever you gotta do to stay sane. And the only way that I could stay sane at that time was to be out in nature. And so I didn't really want to be around people. I didn't want to be at the house by myself, a lot of people check on you and stuff, but you just don't want to be bothered today. Just leave me alone, So my outlet was traveling and nature. And so during that time, I would go to different wineries in the middle of nowhere. And I would just sit out there all day, and just I might babysit one glass of wine for like an hour or something. But I would just sit outside, just praying and thinking and talking to God and that's kind of how I healed. That for me, everybody's different. For me, I feel like I'm close to God when I'm in nature. That's just how I am. And so that would be my meditation time. And so in that process, the wineries like in Temecula and so on would see me very often, and I started developing a uh, a relationship with them, and I was like, after that time passed, after that healing time had passed, I was like, well, how can I create that feeling here in Huntsville?
Mm-hmm.
And so, because I feel like my personal belief is that no matter what you're going through, because life is just going to happen, period.
Right.
Always going to be something. I feel like I'm built as tough as they come. But, what I'm saying? Everybody has a breaking point. And so there has to be a way to positively, if I'm saying it right, get that out. And for me, it was having a place where you can just feel like you're somewhere else. And so that's the whole concept of the winery, just to create a stress-free environment. So no matter how bad your day was at work or whoever's bothering you or whatever, you come there and it's just like everything goes away. You can just, this is your relaxation moment. No different than, for some people laying in the tub or, so, everybody has their thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, you don't want people to turn to drugs or other crazy stuff or think about suicide. I've been there, done that, thought about it. But, those wineries and stuff have, and being out in nature, just taking it all in, it's just beautiful. How can you be mad? You realize God's bigger than all this. So you see how small you really are when you're out in nature. And so that was the whole concept of Robert Gardner. I want to use her as a memorial to create that environment where people can go and relax, stress free, but it's not about that nonsense. So you just leave that at the door. We don't do that here. So
I'm sorry about your I think that is a beautiful way to honor her with the name. That is when I hear the story behind it, it's just like, wow. That is a beautiful way to honor her and your legacy and the family's legacy and pulling it on through. That's nice.
There's nothing else they're gonna know the name. They don't know who. Most people don't know who Robyn is, but
Mm-hmm.
and it's there's been some debate on, do we want to put a passage out? We want to put a description out? Nah, I don't want to do that. We don't want to depress anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Just, what I'm saying, every time they walk in, I'm trying to drink and have a good time. Oh man, it's sad.
Oh.
So we try and keep it lively, and then you have a lot of other people that's going through stuff, cancer, and lost different loved ones from related issues, and I don't want them to get triggered,
Yeah,
because it's hard, it is, it's hard. So that's that.
yeah. So have you found that there are a lot or a lack of melanated people in the industry?
Every industry except for barbershop, salon, yeah. That's almost every industry, yeah, there is a lack, but I wouldn't just pinpoint that on the wine industry. I was just saying, as a whole, when you look at all the corporations in general, yeah, it's a huge disparity. We tend to do what we know, and if your dad was a roofer, you're a roofer. You know how that goes. But a lot of people's parents didn't. It's even. I mean, even a lot of people that do it in the U.S. They're a lot of them are breakthrough, even the non-Black individuals, especially if they didn't come from Europe and Spain and countries like that. Matter of fact, the guy that I kind of shadowed, he's from Italy, and I just noticed how that was passed down from his family from generation to generation to generation. And I'm like, man, you know how lucky you are, and of course, as Black individuals, that's not usually something that's passed down. But I do see a lot more interest being generated into it. So I think even though there's not a lot now, I think within the next 30 years, it's going to change significantly as we develop. You know what I'm saying? As we realize that, I'm not trying to be funny, like Hennessy and Ciroc and stuff like that are not the only thing. And as you can see now, there's a trend with the athletes and the celebrities getting their own wine labels and their own bottles nowadays. That it wasn't like that years ago. So yeah, I think that's going to change significantly as far as us.
Was it hard getting into the industry? Did you have a mentor?
No. Things are only as hard as you make it. And I could say okay, let me take that back. Wine making is not hard to get into. Actual winery, yeah, that's hard as hell. So as far as getting into the winemaking industry, you can go on YouTube for that. Go on YouTube, books. You know what I'm saying? You can make wine, but if you want to make good wine, you got to take it a step further. You got to join some winemaking clubs, some societies, take maybe a few classes, and take it a little to the next level, because you'll make something, but you don't understand the true science of it. And you can make a good batch of wine easily, but to turn around and do it again and think you're going to have the same result every time, back to back to back to back, sooner or later something's going to happen. The temperature's going to get too hot, or you're going to forget to add something. You're going to get a little bit of contaminant in there. You're not going to know what's going on. You're not going to know what's happening. What's that smell? Why does it smell like that? It smell like that. Time. And so without getting that extra step, you're not going to understand how to really master that craft. And I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying? I still got a long ways to go. But at the same time, I jump on the road in a minute. I'll pick up the phone and be like, look, we need to talk. And I'll talk to other wineries and stuff, and kind of pick their brain. And 90% of them are super cool. They love it. They love talking about it. They don't look at you as competition. They look at you as, and they look at it as synergy. And I wish a lot more other businesses do that, but Napa Valley wouldn't be Napa Valley with one winery. You put another wine out there, another person. You put about 30 out there. Now everybody wants to book a flight. Y'all all making money. So, they definitely believe in that synergy and wine trails and everything else. If one person makes money, more I make, more you make. That's kind of how it goes. So I'm not sure if I answered your question. I kind of rambled.
You did. So although Huntsville has drastically grown over the last 10 years, it's still very much Alabama. Was it difficult exposing and drawing in the people to your vibe?
I don't consider Huntsville Alabama per se, as far as the culture. This is a military town. So unlike most of Alabama, a good portion of people, I would say you'd be hard pressed to find 2 out of every 3 people that were from here or born here. You'd be hard pressed to find that many people. It's kind of like Atlanta, Are you from Atlanta? I'm from Florida. I'm from DC. None of y'all from Atlanta, but y'all represent. But yeah, that's kind of how Huntsville is. Same thing with DMV. Because it's a military town, government town, the culture here is just a little bit different than the typical Alabama culture. You have Redstone Arsenal here, and you have thousands and thousands of people. That's why we're growing so fast. Everybody's moving in for these jobs, so they're not from here. So you have people that's coming here looking for something to do. So Huntsville is absolutely not the typical Alabama culture. As far as the people, of course, you go down to that courthouse, you're like, oh yeah, we in Alabama. But but as far as like, different people on the street and stuff like that, it's not the typical Alabama culture. Yeah, we're still in Alabama. Still abide by the Alabama laws and regulations and so on and so on. However, the culture is just a little bit different because most people are not from here, or a good portion of people are not from here.
So when you make your wine, I hear the echo again. When you make your wines, is there? I noticed there's the rate of alcohol content can be like 2% up to I've seen 13%.
Okay.
Like alcohol, like 13% in the wine, that takes you to like liquor, right?
No,
not really.
Not really. Yeah. First of all, 2% is juice. Secondly, the average range for alcohol, as far as sweet wine, stuff like that, or dessert wine, would be like around between 10 to 12 and a half, 13%. But then when you start doing the red wines and stuff, they typically start around 12.5, 13, and they usually go up maybe 15%. Some more than that, depends on how you make it. We're going to exclude ports, but the issue with, as far as alcohol content, there's two ways to kind of explain it. Some people, like in other countries, okay, if you're in some countries, they don't put sugar in their grapes. You don't do that. Of course, sugar makes the alcohol. You can manipulate the alcohol level with sugar. So whatever the grape is naturally, whether that falls at a 12% wine, 13% wine, 14% wine, that's what it's going to be at the end of the day. It's all natural. Whatever the grape is, that's how it comes out. So, however, in America, we want to keep our alcohol content the same every year. So sometimes that level is manipulated a little bit with sugar. So if you wanted an alcohol that, for example, say like my green eyes, the one that I'm creating now, that's a CBD wine. I want people to feel it. So that one is about 18%. That's not normal. But for like the blueberry and the peach and stuff, the fruit wines and stuff, I don't want people to be burning and stuff when they drinking it. So we keep it around 13%. It's high enough to feel it, but it's not so high where it's just straight gas where you just don't even taste the fruit no more. So yeah, red wine is higher alcohol. White wine is usually lower alcohol in general. Of course, you can manipulate that.
So does the sugar heighten or dilute?
What's that again?
Does the sugar heighten or dilute?
Yeah, more sugar, the more alcohol. Mm-hmm. If you dump more sugar into it, it's going to raise it. The sugar turns to alcohol. Mm-hmm. Nice. Or honey if you're doing mead. But that's a story. But yeah.
Okay. So which wines are the sweetest?
Oh, Stella Rosa. Let me stop. The sweetest wine, in my opinion, in this region, which you will not find in out west at all, would be like muscadine, which I'm not a fan of muscadine. People love it, but that just is super sweet. The sweetest wine I have would be peach, which has been a number one seller for a while. Um, and I'm gonna answer that question in a minute. Joci. How's it pronounced?
Joci.
Okay, Joci. Okay. So the sweetest one I have would be I have blueberry, peach, apple, um, chocolate drop. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Got a Joy Road coming out. But either way, the sweetest one right now would be peach. That's pretty sweet. Joci asks, is the alcohol level increase on the CBD wine, which is green eye, because CBD tends to relax and counters the drunk feeling? No, it's two different things. Okay, the alcohol is so high in the CBD wine based on an accident. I accidentally put more more sugar in it than I was supposed to, and instead of cutting it back, I just left it like that because I was like, okay, well, let people get there. I wanted it to hit different. I could have cut it back to bring down the alcohol content a little bit, but I wanted people to feel it, you know. So the story behind the CBD wine, the Green Eyes. My sister has a hemp farm in Tennessee, and we just did an experiment to see if we can infuse the hemp with the wine. And so I made about 5 gallons worth practicing of CBD wine using Villard Blanc grape. And I didn't know how to. I never did a CBD wine before. I didn't know how much to add or whatever. So I would just take it and boil it in there, and then boil it in there. So much. I mean, it just like over a pound of CBD, just boiling in there, and so we let it go through its process, ferment and stuff like that. Well, when it was time to drink it, um, when it was time to drink it, I didn't know. I took the glasses out, myself and my siblings, and we had about this much, and we all looked at each other like, what's going on? Am I drunk? Am I high? We don't know what's going on, you know? I mean, you can't be high because it don't have no THC. So, but it hits so different. And so we actually had to cut back the CBD portion, some because I wasn't trying to be liable for nothing. I could see people passing out or whatever. But that this to go to that point, that CBD feeling was not the same as, and that didn't have a whole lot of alcohol in it. That was just pure CBD. So that feeling was way different than just typical being tipsy, or that feeling you get from it. You can't really explain it. So I don't know if that's answering your question. Was it because the alcohol? No. Or does the CBD counteract? No. CBD does CBD. Alcohol does alcohol. It doesn't really, you know, they don't. Of course, I mean, for those that smoke, which I've never smoked before, those that smoke, you know when you're high, and for those that drink, you know when you're drunk. Now, you know, and if you smoking and drink at the same time, then you kind of understand, you know, those two feelings. So if you're gonna mix the two, you gotta tone down either or.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal was to create the ultimate relaxing beverage, you know. But but we kind of had to do it like that. Otherwise, it tastes like we want people to know they're drinking CBD, but we don't want the CBD to be so overpowering. It tastes like you're drinking grass or something. You want it to be nice drink or whatever. So we played around with the form a little bit, and that's when we got what we got, and just see what happens. I mean, everybody that's tested it, it's a hit. It's a hit. I need to patent that thing.
So, how do you pair wines with different foods? What's the best way to pair a wine?
Oh, I hate when people ask that. Because I'm not a chef, a lot of people ask me that. I'm just a winemaker. When I do food, I've done a bunch of classes, and because I'm vegetarian, I learn, but I forget. I'm saying, oh, this goes good with a steak, and use this red one, use this Bordeaux, and put it with a steak, or you use doing seafood, so you can do with a Sauvignon Blanc or something like that. What I've learned is that at the end of the day, it all varies on the individual's palate. So there's people that tell me, okay, well, even like the cheese and wine and cheese pairings and stuff like that. I don't care what type of cheese you give me. If it ain't a sharp cheddar cheese, I don't want it with my red wine. So there's other ones out there, but I like what I like. You know what I'm saying? So typically in general, the whites and stuff will go more with like a seafood type dish or whatever, and reds with like a steak and some pastas and stuff. But as far as to get to a deep dive into that, I'm not qualified to go through that whole history of what wine was good with what. But I could tell you now, if you didn't mention food, I could tell you what's good with. It's easy for me to tell you what's good with the years or the seasons or or what's good for the spring, summer, fall, winter. What's good before you go to bed? What's good when you going to the park and chilling? What's good at night? But as far as foods and stuff, I just know more so the way which wines make you feel what way.
So what's the difference between grape wine and non-grape wine?
Exactly what it said. Grape wine is made from a red or white grape. And I see you time. When we're doing wine competition, they will have that red grape, white grape, so on, blends and stuff. But short story, non-grape would be like the blueberry, peach, apple. Even if you blend it, you would have to consider it non-grape. It would have to consider non-grape wine. And so that's simply put.
So do you create them the same way?
TaWanda.
Would you create them the same way?
Yes and no. With a grape, you would with grapes you have to it's less work as far as the fermentation process. It's a lot more work. No, it varies. The grapes, that their skins, kind of give it tannins and stuff, that mouthfeel. They ferment better. You can actually crush up a bunch of grapes, and then throw it in a bucket, and it'll ferment on its own, turn wine on its own. You don't have to do nothing. You don't have to add no sugar. You don't have to add nothing, and it'll ferment on its own. When you're doing fruit and stuff, or things come from. When I say make from grapes, I don't mean grape juice. I mean the actual grape with the grape skin. Now, when you're doing it like a fruit wine, or, blueberry stuff like that, then sometimes you have to put like some pectin enzyme on it, some yeast yeast nutrient on it. Put some packaged yeast. Sometimes you got to add sugar to kind of manipulate the levels, and some of that stuff is used to create that same grape skin that you would get from the natural grape when you turn that fruit and other type of things into wine. So once everything is added, once this fermentation process is the same, yeah. But prior to that, there are some slight differences. You kind of got to manipulate the same process and use different things to manipulate that grape skin.
What's the most step when creating wine?
What's the most what?
Difficult step?
Clean up. Clean up. I mean, there's no question. Sanitizing everything takes forever. Then you imagine you got a ton of grapes coming in, and whether you pressing it, crushing it, even if you're going old school and you got a bunch of young virgins in the bucket, that's how they supposed to do it back in the day, but whatever. Stomping it, we're gonna clean this mess up. And so the hardest process is definitely the cleaning sanitation process. Takes forever. Takes forever. Even if you just grab a bucket or a hose and just transfer from one thing, if it's a little gets on the floor, it's gonna be sticky all week. You mop it, you gotta mop it again. Yeah, it's cleaning sanitation is the hardest thing. Everything else can be done pretty simple.
So what's the proper way to serve wine?
Depends on the type of wine. If I was doing a red wine, I don't refrigerate reds at all. I think that's a sin. So like the cabs and stuff, I would serve room temperature. The like the Pinots and stuff like that will be refrigerated, but even with that, it's supposed to be just a little bit warmer when you serve it than the actual temperature of the refrigerator. So if you were doing like a white wine for the holidays or summertime or whatever, and you just grabbed it out the refrigerator, I think once that glass kind of sat on the table, you pour in the glass or let the bottle sit on the table for after about 5 minutes before drinking it, this perfect temperature. Fruit wines and stuff like that. They need to be cold, of course. So, it just depends on like a Pinot Grigio, Sauvignon Blanc, stuff like that. Refrigerator plus, add a couple more degrees.
So can you tell us
for a second before you drink it? Go ahead.
Can you tell us about that?
About the what?
Venue. Your location.
What? Robyn's Garden venue?
Yes.
Okay. Once again, we're trying to create a relaxing atmosphere, but we don't want nobody falling asleep on us. So on Thursday night, we might have karaoke, game night. I think it's game night tonight. Or we'll mix it up. Maybe have a wine class. We might have an open mic night, poetry night. It could just be a night where people just sit back and smoke hookahs and drink wine. It's just like a wind down after work. Friday, we always have live music. So it's kind of like a concert every Friday night. Usually pretty nice sized crowd on Friday. Same thing with Saturday. It's a concert on Saturday. It's free. We don't charge for that. Just kind of first come, first serve. Sunday switches over to jazz, live jazz. We have a saxophonist, Willie Jasnova Davis. He comes in on Sundays, and sometimes we'll switch it up and have another jazz artist come in. And Sundays is just is a very relaxing day as well. So, and we're only open right now from Thursday through Sunday with some additional days. All right. Question asked: what does serving red wine at room temperature actually do for wine? I can't explain what it actually does for wine, but I can explain that it's just a taste thing. The red wine actually tastes better to most people in the wine community when it's served at room temperature. It hits different. You're more relaxed. It's kind of like, what do I compare it to? It's kind of like, I just had a perfect analogy. Okay, you had sake, and I don't know if those have had sake. If you had a cold sake and a hot sake, or if you had iced tea versus a sweet tea, you see the difference as far as how your body feels when you're drinking a cold sweet tea versus a cold sweet tea versus a hot tea, or iced coffee versus hot coffee. That room temperature wine kind of it almost feels like it gets absorbed into the bloodstream quicker. It just relaxes you quicker, but at the same time, it's also a preference thing. It doesn't even taste the same cold, in my opinion, but that's why the technical reason for why they serve it at room temperature now it's just a taste preference. It's just kind of like one of those written guidelines based on the way the wine is supposed to taste naturally. And but everyone has their preference, for those that like a refrigerator, if it tastes good to your refrigerator, by all means, but I wouldn't personally drink it. If I could avoid it, now let me take that back. If that was all they had, should I drink it? We could go high, no matter. But I prefer it, to be room temperature.
Okay, so we have another one. Do you offer wine tasting and making at Robyn's Garden?
Yes, we have a 6 tasting. We have a 4 tasting, and we're working on a 10 tasting by the end of the summer. And we're going to start doing winemaking classes next month. For those that are interested.
Can people rent out the location?
Yes, during non-business hours, yes. And people have.
Are your wines available to others outside of your local area?
We're working on that. We just opened. It's easier for us to have a location outside of Alabama than it is to have inside of Alabama based on ABC. I don't get it, but it's easier for us to ship wine out of state, send wine out of state than it is in state. So by the end of the year, whoever wants to partner, say like in Atlanta or Nashville or whatever, we'll just have one location in different cities, and then where people don't have to drive to Huntsville to pick up. So that's what we're working on now.
That's nice. Mm-hmm. Did you have any effects of COVID on the business?
Yeah, did I have any what now?
COVID effects on the business?
Yeah. Yeah, because of COVID, I couldn't open up for almost the whole year. So, and then once I did open up, had people get mad at me in the comments. I love the place, but got us too close to other folks and stuff like that. I'm like, you came on a concert. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's trying to get in there. We sit at people. So So yeah, it does have an impact on business, but I think at this, point in time, people ready to get out the house. You can space out as much as you can, but I think that anyone that comes during a certain time probably are not about to go on a hole over COVID. You know what I'm saying? People that's going to come out, going to come out. People that's not are not. We can only do our due diligence, make sure we wear masks and make sure that we try to space out as much as we can based on the size that we are, and that's a challenge because we're really not that big. But we did just open up the outdoor patio, so hopefully that'll encourage people that may be reluctant to go outside and still enjoy it.
So what's in the future for Robyn's Garden?
What's
in the future for Robyn's Garden?
Hopefully a bigger location. We're already outgrowing our location. I really want to have a actual vineyard because right now we're a winery, but we're not a vineyard. I would love to have an actual vineyard, even if I wasn't using those grapes, just for show, and because that's part of the experience too. And so I've done my best to put like vineyards on the wall and stuff like that, murals and stuff, but it's not the same. But it's a start. And so in long term I would like to, have some real land and, and the vineyard and stuff like that. Of course, when I go out to Tennessee and to these other wineries, they're like, man, you don't want no vineyard. It's like, it's all this work. We had to throw away all of our grapes because of frost and this and that. Or different diseases and stuff. And they had to cut down the vines. I came out. I was like, what? Everything is gone. They had to talk about money. And they said, talk about all the work they put into it for nothing. They said it would have been easier just to import.
Mm-hmm.
So grape growing is one thing and wine makes another thing, but I don't care. I just want that look. You've been to Georgia wineries. They don't be using those grapes. But there's no way they're making any batches out of that. You're gonna get 5 gallons of wine. But anyway, but it's still a look. You know what I'm saying? It's all that matters. You got that look. And that's what I want.
Okay, so let's tell the people how to get in touch with you. Your website, your social media.
Yeah, so you can go to www.robynsgarden.com, ROBYNSGARDEN.com, and find us on the web. And that site gets updated probably once every 4 to 5 months. Or you can go to Facebook at Robyn's Garden Winery, ROBYN' Garden Winery on Facebook, or Robyn's Garden Winery on Instagram. And between Facebook and Instagram, you have daily updates, events and stuff like that. Right now we have not having post these flyers yet, but they're coming. Mother's Day, we're doing Nita Baker versus Sade, and Marvin Gaye versus Luther silent party on Mother's Day to have food and drinks. And then we have a Sunday communion where we're doing a gospel celebration. Just guy named Abraham, the voice out of Birmingham, he's going to come up with a bunch of guest singers and Dante Pride here. And we're just doing a celebration. It's going to be Sunday communion. What else do we have? It's always something. I swear. And a lot of those events are Friday night. We have a singer. What's her name? Lorinda. Performing, and keep in mind, my job is to make wine. I don't. The rest of the stuff is handled by my sister and my brother-in-law. But we do have a singer, BJ Lawrence, Friday. Lorinda performing live on Saturday, Sunday, Willie Jazz Nova. Every weekend it's a new artist, and every so often I'll post a clip of the artists that come through on Instagram and Facebook. So, if you want to see what's going on.
Okay. So we can go to your website and order?
No, not yet. We're not able to ship out of state, but we can. We don't have the capacity to do that right now. Our first step for out of state would be to establish partnerships with a few bars or restaurants or stores or whatever, and just deliver a certain amount of cases, and then kind of people pick up from that point. But deliver from house to house with our budget, it kind of wipes out the wine purchase. It would be based on shipping and everything else, and then you can't even. Of course, you can't ship to the post office. There's a problem shipping through FedEx. I'm not even sure if we're able to ship via mail, which we can't in the state. But we're working on change the laws as far as wine clubs and stuff like that. Most people originally, I was going to open up a wine store and have all the wineries that I visit get the best of the best bottle, and then open up a boutique wine shop. Mm-hmm. But once they said, okay, great. Where are you? I said, Alabama. Nope. So yeah, they don't. There's not even wine clubs here, and I think we're working to change that.
Wow.
Matter of fact, did it just pass? I know they're trying to pass it. I'm not sure if it passed yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we're like I said, Huntsville's. If it wasn't for Huntsville, but anyway, yeah, this is it. But I digress.
Well, thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to share you with our world. I wish you much continued success and growth beyond the stars. Thank you to our viewers. Please be sure to like and share, and check out Robyn's Gardens Winery. Mm-hmm. And whenever you're in Alabama, ride through Huntsville, make sure you stop by. Rocket City. I appreciate that. And try to make sure you get a bottle sometime in the near future. Yes. And, Tanya travels a lot, so I might have to get her to get a bottle. Yeah, there's always somebody come from Atlanta. But yeah, you just gotta let us know what type you like, and we'll try to get out there. I'm new to the wine. I'm one of the other drinkers. We'll have to get you some peach or blueberry. So start out with. Yeah. We can't just let you dive into it like that. Well, this is some crap. Yeah, we can't. There's nothing worse than having expensive bottle of wine and somebody just turn their face up. You like, you know what? I kick somebody out the house for that one time. Like, how much it's fun, because you look at the glass, it's all full of stuff. You look like you really not going to drink. Look, get out, get out. Or some yellowtail out. You don't deserve it. Okay, so if you would like information as to how to get in our spotlight, please email us at justjoci@melanatednbusiness.com. Again, that's justjoci@melanatedinbusiness.com. Next week, we will be spotlighting Abdul Rahim of The True Products. See you all next time. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.